Generative artificial intelligence can really accelerate your business, but if you use it wrong, it can lead you to financial disasters. In today's episode, we're going to put the big names of AI in a three-way race. We'll see where AI screws up and where it could cost you big. Then we're going to fix the problem and show you some workarounds to keep things on track and get the right answer and save your neck. This could also be helpful if you're a student studying finance looking to get the right answer on a problem. This is AI Capitalist, where I help business leaders harness the tools of AI to achieve greater efficiency, speed, and profitability. The programming and mathematics behind artificial intelligence is actually really fascinating. But when I started the AI Capitalist channel, I realized that there were already other channels that were covering that material, and I wanted to make something that would be useful to you. So I figured that I'm going to keep the math and coding off of this channel and focus on value creation for you. But in the world of business operations, sometimes you got to use math. So I'm going to keep it real basic. We're just going to use Excel. And I'll show you how to use a snippet of code without actually learning how to code. Because to me, the whole point of artificial intelligence is saving your mental energy for the big decisions that you have to make. Let's say that you own a factory and you want to shell out $8 million to buy a new piece of equipment to speed up your process. The first year, its production is going to make you $1 million in profit, and then $500,000 of additional profit every year from then on. So in year 1, it's $1 million. In year 2, it's $1.5 million. In year 3, it's $2 million, on and on for 5 years. Let's say that inflation is at 6%. Yeah, we all know that inflation is a lot more than that these days. But let's suspend disbelief and pretend that government figures on inflation are honest. If the net present value of all of these profits minus the $8 million expense is a positive number, then it's a good deal. A negative number means that you're going to lose money. So now we're looking at a screen where I've already run this calculation for net present value calculation, and this is going to be what we test against. We're going to see if AI can do this thing of $8 million at a 6% discount rate. So in the first years, it pays out $1 million, which discounted at 6% in this year's terms is $943,000 blah 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 dollars. And then going all the way forward to in 5 years, if every year the dollar is losing 6% of its value, you're left with $3 million is really just $2,241,000 of today's dollars. So the net present value, we sum up all of the net present totals. So for the today value, we take the $8,179,638 that all of these inputs total. We subtract out our initial investment, our cash in, of $8 million. And we can say that the present value of this project is $179,638.13 of profit. So let's see if AI can figure this out. Calculate the net present value of an annuity that costs $8 million to purchase, but then pays $1 million a year, 1.5 a year, 2, etc. And then we give the discount rate. Go. Let's copy this while it's thinking. So let's look at these numbers that it's coming out with. 943, 396, 23. That matches this number here. Let's go to the last number. 2,241,774. 2,237,451 and 64 cents. You can see here it's setting up the equations right. It's telling you how it does its math, and then it gets the wrong answer in the end. So it tells us that the net present value is $176,817.45 when really it's $179,638 and 13 cents. Not a huge discrepancy, but this is math. Like, either it's right or it's wrong. There's no in-betweensies. So now for comparison purposes, we're going to see what ChatGPT comes up with. All right, and paste. Here's all the blah blah. It's telling you how it's setting up its equations. Good. Here's the payments. First number, 943, 396, 23. And we see that here in the spreadsheet, 943, 396, 23. Oh no, it's off, right? Here, 2,242,800. You have 2,241,774 for year 5. Now, if we go to the total, it's telling us it's got a net present value of 180,208.73, where really it's 179,630. So again, it understands. I mean, it understands as best it can, but it gets the wrong answer. All right, let's just put this up against Gemini. And what do you come up with? So let's look at the first number. You know, it's weird. It's like the first one it gets right every time. 943, 396, 23. But by the time it gets to the last one, the just basic arithmetic gets all squirrely. as you can see, the net present value of this annuity is positive. No, I can't see that. It says the net present value is $1,796,381. Now, that's completely wrong. And it's going to be worse because I'll bet if I added up these numbers and then I subtracted out the initial cash in, the difference would not come out to $1,796,000. Yeah, so they suck. So we're going back to Claude now. Here's how you actually do this problem. Tell it to build a spreadsheet. Write a detailed description of an Excel spreadsheet with the above problem where it lays it out and solves it, and it tells it what values to put where. And here we see it labeling. Here's how you build a spreadsheet. It's got the cells. I can transcribe this. It looks like these look like the correct equations. I could just enter it in. I could go to cell C9 and enter in this formula, and cell A1, enter in what it says. Or at this point in the process, you do have the option of going through this output and transcribing the spreadsheet description directly into a spreadsheet and then running the spreadsheet. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to tell it to write a code snippet in Visual Basic for Excel that creates this spreadsheet so that we don't have to do the transcription. Visual Basic for Excel is just a sort of code platform that exists within Excel and within Microsoft apps. And it's really convenient. I'm going to show you how to do it. This is how you run the code. I'm not going to teach how to write the code. It does that for you, and either it works or it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned. Here's the code coming out, spitting out the code, blah, 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 blah. Now it's generated the code that you need. And as I said, I try to stay away from code, but I don't really speak Visual Basic, and I'm not going to learn it. I'm just going to copy the code. I have not actually enabled the developer option yet. So let's go do that. Ribbon and toolbar. And then we check developer. Okay, that is how we do that. We save. Next, we come here. We go to developer. We hit the Visual Basic button. Okay, so here's Visual Basic. Sheet 2. Insert a module. Now I'm going to go grab this code over here. Copy the code. Drop it in here. Now I'm going to hit the play button and run it. All right. So look at that. So now it's taken all these values that Claude gave me and it's dumped in the equations and it's done it for me. And look, it got the right answer, 179,683.13. But the way to get the right answer out of Claude is to actually tell it to build the spreadsheet and then tell it to build the code calc to run the spreadsheet and then have the code build the spreadsheet itself. Let's see how it does in ChatGPT. So we're just going to take the same prompt. We're going to ChatGPT. But now ChatGPT has also come out with what goes in each cell. And just looking at it, yeah, it looks like it'll work. So let's tell it to do a bit of Visual Basic for Excel. So when it makes its example spreadsheet, it actually lays out the numbers and the entries for you. That's really convenient. Let's make it more convenient by just telling it to write a Visual Basic code for Excel. Go. It runs out the whole code for Excel. Okay, so it just took about a minute and it spit out all the code. So let's try and run this code and see what happens from ChatGPT. Insert a module, dump in all this code that I didn't write and don't understand. Run. Bang. And as we see, it runs through it. It's not formatted as prettily, but it did it. Did the calc, and look, it got the 179,683.13. So yes, ChatGPT can also do this trick. Oh, it made a whole new worksheet too. Look at that. It didn't just print it into the one I was working in GPT. So now running it through Gemini, we're going to run a calc that does the same thing. Bang. Go. Sort of. Okay. This information tells you in each cell what to put where. I don't know why these formulae have the asterisk at the end. I don't know what that does. And then also it only does C6 and D6. It doesn't keep going down the list, which is weird. So let's prompt Gemini to enter this as a code snippet instead of as a description of a spreadsheet that'll actually build the spreadsheet. Copy code. Now insert module, paste, run. Nope, compile error. All right, well, I don't have time to debug this, especially because there are AIs out there that actually work. So let me show you why we had to do this in this order. Because a lot of the time, it's very tempting to skip a step or just tell the AI to do tons and tons and tons of steps all in one. But this is not an AI agent. It's not quite able to put together what you're trying to tell it to do.
I'm going to try to do it all in one step now. Enter in the same question, and I'm going to try to get it to solve it in spreadsheet format all at once for me. Let's see how this goes. Okay, there's the code. Insert module, paste, run it. Syntax error. Now we'll run it.
And if you're gaining value from this episode, I would urge you to push the like button. Pressing like lets me know that I'm making the content you want to see, and it helps spread that content to others. And I genuinely thank you for your support. So the key takeaway here is that if you want to use generative AI like ChatGPT or Claude to solve complex math problems, you have to get the chatbot to set up the problem, but then use more conventional tools to solve them. Do not trust the chatbot's math skills. By the way, if you're into coding, you could have just as easily had it write computer code in any language you want, and then just run the calculation that way. As a business leader, there are two fields of artificial intelligence that you can use to operate more efficiently. On the one hand is machine learning, which is great for looking at past data and then making predictions about future trends or what people are going to do. For getting the right answer mathematically. But on the other hand, generative artificial intelligence, the chatbots that we work with, is good for learning how to set up the problem itself. But these two methods are incompatible. We will achieve AGI, or artificial general intelligence, or human-like reasoning, when these two different skill sets can be merged into one. Until then, you have to use your human general intelligence, but you can get artificial intelligence to do the heavy lifting.